What's up, y'all? TBrown31 here with JaboctheGreat. Welcome back to The Last Word. Today, we're going to recap the two Monday Night Football games we had this past Monday. We had a doubleheader, first of two this season, or in the first couple weeks here. First one, I don't even know what to say about the Jaguars anymore. I unfortunately decided to watch this game over the Bengals game. Mistake. This one was over pretty soon, and in the end, the Bills moved to 3-0, while the Jags fall to 0-3 as they lose to the Bills 47-10.
Yeah, this one was I don't know. I mean, recently the Jaguars have had the Bills number right. We know when they've been in London, which first of all, London is like their real home stadium.
Yeah.
They handled the Bills in a fun game last year in London. I think Trevor has been pretty good against Josh Allen as a whole. But as we know, since Trevor's injury last year, they have not won a game, or they've won like one game, maybe. This one won't be added to that tie. They did not win. They did not even come close to winning. The Jaguars just cannot seem to get it going. The turnovers are bad, and it's kind of the same thing. We talked, when they happened, which has been a while back. But Trevor Lawrence had like a spin around fumble. Matthew Stafford had like a twirl in the end zone pick six thingy that he did a few years ago. And Terrence and I were pretty critical of those. And that sums up like all of Trevor Lawrence's turnovers. Like he is not, I don't think, to my knowledge, thrown a regular interception. The one he threw to Mar Hamlin, this one was like maybe it was a regular interception, but like if I watch that play, I don't know if maybe I'm missing it, but I don't think I'm seeing the receiver he's going for. It just straight to Damar Hamlin. Charitable guy, letting Damar Hamlin, keep playing good football. Hamlin has actually been good this season, by the way. I know we've all joked because the Bills tried to run a trick play with Damar Hamlin last year, and Hamlin went from like praised figure for surviving death to like clown last year somehow. But he has been good this year. He has played good football, and that is good for him because the damaging PR they tried to do him last year is gone. Except for like when he picked off Trevor Lawrence, I have seen people be like, Trevor is the first person to throw an interception to a man who came back from the dead. But
Impressive.
somebody had to do it. The Jaguars really, I don't think, do anything of note in this game. They scored their touchdown in the third quarter. By that point, the game was long gone. And I did the opposite of Terrence. I watched mostly the Washington game, which was more of a battle, and we'll get to that one for sure. But I kept seeing, because they when they do the double header, which I'm not a fan of on Monday nights, but it is what it is. They do have the score in the upper left-hand side, and it does show like when they're in the red zone. And I kept seeing Jaguars red zone. And then I would look up, and the red zone thing would be gone, and the Jaguar score would still be 10. So I don't really know what was going on. I'll let you take more of the reins on this one, since you paid attention to this one a lot more than I did. But Trevor Lawrence played a bad football game. Max Jones came in and played a deceptively bad football game. 5 for 8, 22 yards. Was sacked one time for a loss of 17. He fumbled as well. Trevor Lawrence was sacked for a pretty good bit of yards as well. I mean, the Jags O-line has usually been an issue. Maybe that's some of it. Maybe Trevor can't get his head together. But as a Clemson fan, I want Trevor to succeed, but it's hard to not acknowledge it. Like, this is just not going well. The Bills, on the other hand, have certainly had a good time. James Cook is cooking for sure. Josh Allen was great, both in the air and on the ground. Khalil Shakir is getting his footing down. Dalton Kincaid did well, which I know it was probably good for you. I think you pulled him through I think you got a fantasy dub out of that
Thank God.
on the last night. So Keon Coleman, after a literal like 0 receptions game the previous week, came in and got himself a touchdown. So the Bills did really good, but I'm just kind of talking right now. I did not pay as much attention to this one. I'd like to give more commentary on what's wrong with the Jags, but I just don't get it. It's the turnovers, it's the mentality. Something is wrong, and it seems like it's going to take a lot to fix it.
Yeah, I guess this one was just kind of a culmination, of the first couple of weeks. That first game, they should have won against the Dolphins, and they had a close game against the Browns, who don't look particularly good right now either. And then this one, not very often will I think it would be hyperbole to say a game is over on the first drive, but watching that first drive, how easily the Bills went down the field on that first drive into a touchdown, like I was like, yo, this is over. Because if you're going to sit here and tell me that in 5 minutes, the Bills can go all the way from the 30 and score a touchdown. 10-play drive. I mean, it was just perfect. And they did get a fourth down conversion. So I guess you could say the Jags did stop them on a third down, but they didn't stop them on fourth, so who cares? And from there, it was just that pretty much was it. Next couple drives, or excuse me, I'm lying. Next 5 drives, uh, they scored touchdowns, and then in that first one in the second half, they got a field goal on. So 5 straight drives after that initial touchdown, they scored, put them up 37-10. And the only blemish for the Bills that first half was the missed extra point, and it's like, all right, not really a big deal. Like we've seen it a lot of times now, ever since they not reintroduced, but introduced the longer extra point. These extra point misses come back to haunt teams. Before that would never happen when it was from the 2-yard line. So in this one, it did not even close. Jaguars really couldn't move the ball. When they did move the ball, they only got a field goal on that long drive, the second drive, and then they did have opportunities to turn it over on downs, turn the ball over. Like you said, Trevor had that interception, like to DeMar Hamlin. It's just I don't really know what else to say about the Jaguars at this point. Because again, I mean, the first 2 games, it's not like they got beat up. This one, they got beat up handily, and I would be lying if I sat here and said I thought the Bills would be coming into the season looking this good so far. They beat up on Miami last week, Thursday Night Football. I guess 2 weeks ago technically, but they beat up Miami. Had that close game against the Cardinals, and we kind of lamented the fact that they were down to the Cardinals in the way they were, but gave them credit for coming back. But considering you have Gabe Davis, who was in this game, but with the Jaguars, and then obviously Stephon Diggs is down in Houston. Considering you lose your top 2 targets at receiver, you would think, like, all right, it's going to be a step back in the offense. You brought guys in to replace them, but we didn't really think that the replacements were on that same level. But heck, I mean, the Bills, they've looked pretty darn good, and Monday night was just a continuation of that.
Yeah, so I don't think there's too much more to say on that one. I mean, the Bills have just looked dominant. They're clearly right now, I think, the best team in the league. They're playing like people, had questions about the lack of receiver depth with losing Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis is in Jacksonville. That didn't go well. Stephon Diggs is doing okay in Houston, but the Bills are doing perfectly fine with Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman and Matt Collins and everyone else. Matt Collins not like crazy impactful in this game, but they have not had issues with the receiver change. So the Bills look really good. Maybe this is a year where they kind of change it up. Their big rivals, the Chiefs, are also 3-0, but like the Bills 3-0 aside from the Cardinals win is a much different one. And maybe you argue that the schedule is easier considering the state of the Dolphins and the state of the Jaguars. But I think right now the Bills look really dominant. Josh Allen is playing amazing football. He hasn't had too many stupid low IQ dives where he decides to try to hurdle a defender for no reason. So they look really good, I would argue.